Red and blue lights flash against the windows of a multi-million-dollar mansion. Inside, a body lies dead in the attic, and a maid sits on an Italian leather sofa, waiting in handcuffs. Freida McFadden's The Housemaid starts at the end, and then forces us to retrace the steps, asking a terrifying question. What if everything you thought you knew about the perfect marriage is a lie? We enter the story through Millie. She's fresh out of prison, living in her car, and running out of options. When she walks into the Winchester estate for a housekeeper interview, the pristine marble counters and gleaming surfaces feel like an alternate universe. She lands the job working for Nina and Andrew Winchester. From the outside, they have it all: endless wealth, a beautiful young daughter, and a flawless life. It's a sharp contrast to Millie's grim reality. Because she's an ex-con, Millie doesn't have the luxury of asking questions. She desperately needs the paycheck and a roof over her head, which makes her the ideal, unquestioning pawn for a household with something to hide. It doesn't take long for the cracks to show. Nina is erratic. She destroys the house minutes after Millie cleans it, throws wild tantrums, and at one point feeds her daughter a sandwich loaded with peanut butter, fully aware the child has a severe allergy. Then there are the physical red flags built into the house itself. Millie's bedroom is up in a cramped, windowless attic, and strangely, the heavy deadbolt on her door only locks from the outside. Other details refuse to add up. Enzo, the family's landscaper, explicitly tries to warn Millie away. And family photos on the mantle show a version of Nina who is 50 pounds lighter and entirely unrecognizable. Through all the chaos, Andrew is the steady anchor. He's charming, patient, and frequently apologizes for his wife's behavior. He even rolls up his sleeves to help Millie mop up the messes Nina leaves behind. He projects the image of a long-suffering victim doing his best. The tension eventually boils over. After Nina pushes her husband too far, Andrew and Millie spend a secret night together in a Manhattan hotel room. When Nina finds out, she threatens to ruin them both and use Millie's criminal record to send her back to jail. We find ourselves rooting for the charming husband and dismissing the crazy wife based on the established patterns of the genre. Our own biases make us blind to the actual power dynamics in the room. Halfway through the book, the narrative shatters. Andrew doesn't leave his wife for Millie. Instead, he lures Millie up to her room, shuts the thick wooden door, and locks her inside. The story violently shifts perspective. We are suddenly looking through Nina's eyes. She isn't having a meltdown. She's sitting safely in a hotel room, watching a glowing dot on a GPS tracking app confirm that Millie is exactly where she wants her to be. Everything we thought we knew about Nina unravels. Earlier, we learned she spent time in a psychiatric facility called Clearview for experiencing delusions that her husband was locking her in a room. Those weren't delusions. Andrew is a sadistic abuser. He uses the attic for sensory deprivation, subjecting his victims to absolute darkness and physical torture, forcing them to endure the crushing weight of heavy textbooks for hours on end. The facade of the long-suffering husband was a carefully constructed mirage. He orchestrated the entire environment to break the women in his life, flipping the power dynamic of the story completely on its head. Once you understand Andrew's true nature, Nina's bizarre behavior makes perfect sense. Her 50-pound weight gain was a deliberate defensive tactic, a way to make herself physically unappealing so Andrew would stop targeting her. But she also needed an offensive strategy. She feigned incompetence and trashed her own house to force Andrew's hand. The mess became so unmanageable that he had to agree to hire a live-in maid. This flowchart shows how Nina systematically plotted her escape. She meticulously reviewed the candidates, choosing Millie because she was young and beautiful enough to catch Andrew's eye. But most importantly, Millie's criminal record made her vulnerable. She was the perfect bait. Nina actively pushed them together, orchestrating the Manhattan hotel trip and manipulating her outbursts to ensure Andrew would make the maid his new target. The ultimate objective was to transfer Andrew's obsession. Once he locked Millie in the attic, Nina would finally have the leverage she needed to safely file for divorce and escape the house for good. Nina was never a hysterical victim losing her grip on reality. She was a master architect who weaponized the very prison built to break her, using it to secure her freedom. But the plan fractures. When Nina returns, she expects to find Millie trapped upstairs. Instead, she climbs the dark stairwell toward a flickering light spilling out from the attic door, only to find Millie standing over Andrew's lifeless body. Millie is terrified. She managed to turn the tables and kill Andrew in self-defense, but she knows exactly how the legal system works. With her criminal record, no jury will believe her. She expects to spend the rest of her life in a cell. This is where Nina steps in one last time. Instead of calling the police, she tells Millie to run. Using her immense wealth and social influence, Nina carefully cleans the crime scene, ensuring the authorities rule Andrew's death a tragic accident. The legal system was never going to protect either of these women. True justice in this house could only be achieved through a dark, unspoken alliance between two people the world had completely underestimated. Fast forward to the epilogue. Millie is interviewing for a new housekeeping position. The house is pristine, but her interviewer, Lisa Killefer, is clearly terrified of her own husband. Then comes the final reveal. Lisa sought out Millie specifically because Nina recommended her. Millie has transformed into a shadow protector. She intentionally infiltrates wealthy estates to dismantle abusers from the inside, saving the women trapped behind those gilded doors. It's a brutal look at how easily domestic violence hides behind closed doors when there's enough money to buy silence. By the final page, the narrative completely dismantles the toxic trope of the unstable, crazy wife. The story resonates because it offers a rare, absolute form of justice, allowing the victims to weaponize the predator's own traps against him.